Hello there and welcome to Midday News. I'm Aishwarya Kapoor with you, and in the next 30 minutes I'll be taking you through the biggest developing news stories at lunch hour. Let us start with the headlines. Prime Minister Modi speaks about virtues of Islam, says fight against terror, not against any religion. Jordan King Abdullah II says the need to take back airwaves and internet from voices of hatred. Prime Minister Modi holds delegation-level talks with the Jordanian King Abdullah II. Pacts in the field of health, manpower, customs and mining to be signed. Visa on arrival for Indians announced. Electoral reforms begin. Sale of first batch of electoral bonds to continue for 10 days. Government aims to clean political funding. An enforcement directorate attaches 41 properties belonging to Gitanjali Gems promoter Mehul Choksi. Lookout notices issued against him and Nirav Modi in connection with the PNB fraud case. Our top story this afternoon, Prime Minister Narendra Modi and visiting Jordan's King Abdullah II bin Al Hussein are holding talks on bilateral ties. Now, issues related to defense and security, Palestinian issue and ways to deal with terrorism, radicalization and extremism will figure prominently in the deliberations. A host of pacts, including those on cooperation in the field of health, manpower, customs and mining, are likely to be signed following the talks. My colleague Akhilesh Suman is now joining us on the phone line. He's at a Hyderabad house at the moment. Very good afternoon, Akhilesh. So India's West policy is also getting robust with King Abdullah II's visit to India, and the Jordanian king, we understand, is holding talks with PM Modi now. And, after Union Cabinet approval for the signing of several MOUs yesterday, what all can we expect today?
Actually, this is one of the major visits from the Middle Eastern country, because you know that Jordan king is in the direct lineage of
can you hear
Prophet
me?
Muhammad, and he is 41st in the lineage. So I think this is the way that Prime Minister and Jordan King thought that India is the second largest Muslim population in the world, and the whole buzzword is about de-radicalization, because this is one of the major impediments in the world peace and prosperity. And Jordan King, while he was speaking when Prime Minister Narendra Modi was also present in Vigyan Bhavan today, he called upon the Muslim youth to think about their future, about their family and their life that Islam preaches and teaches them. Islam teaches them about the tolerance and respect to all other faiths than Islam also. So it is in a way that a message to the Muslim population, not only in India but also in the world, that what is going on in the name of radicalization. Terrorism is one of the worst offshoots, and whole Muslim population and all the governments and all the society has to persuade the youth, especially the youth, to come and join hands for peace and prosperity. That this is the message with which King Abdullah has come here. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi also has spoken that when we are talking about de-radicalization, it is not against any religion or Muslim. He told that it is against the people who are increasing violence in the world. And he told that, that he wants to see Muslim youth with Quran in one hand and technology and computer in another hand. So this is the message that King Abdullah King Abdullah visit here is trying to give, and that he is one of the most respected persons in the whole Islamic countries, among the whole Islamic countries. And I think that this visit is one of the most important visits, because recently Prime Minister Narendra Modi had also gone to Palestine, and when he was on the transit visit, King Abdullah came on the airport and received him, and they also had some talks. So within a month, his visit to India is quite important as far as India outreach to the Gulf and Middle Eastern countries is concerned. Yes, Rajya.
All right, Akhilesh, thank you so much for all those updates there. So Prime Minister Modi there holding talks with the Jordanian king there. And after the meeting, there will be signing of agreements. Of course, we'll keep getting you all the updates on that particular story. And earlier, Prime Minister Narendra Modi said that the fight against terrorism and radicalization is not aimed at any religion. The Prime Minister said this while addressing an event at Vigyan Bhavan. The event organized by Islamic Cultural Center was a themed Islamic heritage promoting understanding and moderation. The Prime Minister counted India's rich culture diversity, saying that it has been the cradle of all major religions in the world. He added that extremism is the product of some misguided minds. Visiting Jordanian King Abdullah II also addressed the event, and he spoke at length about the teachings of Islam and the message of peace that it carries. Speaking on radicalization, he said that there is a need to carry forward the true message of religions.
इंसानियत के खिलाफ दरिंदगी का हमला करने वाले शायद ये नहीं समझते कि नुकसान उस मजहब का होता है जिसके लिए खड़े होने का वो दावा करते हैं। आतंकवाद और उग्रवाद के खिलाफ, रेडिकलाइजेशन के खिलाफ मुहिम किसी पंथ के खिलाफ नहीं है।
The truth is that today's global war against terror is not a fight between different religions or peoples. It is between moderates of all faiths and communities against extremists whose faith is hate and violence. We need to recognize and reject the misinformation such groups promote about Islam, or indeed any other faith. We need to take back the airwaves and the internet from the voices of hatred, those who have victimized our world, not only with bombs and terror, but with ignorance and lies. We need to make sure young people learn the true values of our religions.
And Jordan will give a visa on arrival to all Indians wishing to go there. This will increase a people-to-people contact and mutual trust between the two nations. Jordan's King Abdullah II announced the facility during his talks with India and Jordanian businessmen in Delhi. He said that both India and Jordan have immense opportunities in business and it must be utilized. Jordan's King is in Delhi on a 3-day state visit to India. The Jordanian King also met scientific and technological luminaries at IIT Delhi and assessed the scope of India-Jordan academic partnership.
As we have announced that the opportunities for your countrymen and women to come to Jordan has been facilitated, but at the same time I asked your very capable ambassador in Amman that any challenges that Indians have coming to our borders, please let the embassy know. We in the Royal Court will personally look into it to make sure that the smoothest welcome is given to our Indian compatriots.
On to the other big story of the day. The big step towards electoral reforms have begun today. The sale of first batch of electoral bonds to help people make donations to political parties will continue till 10th of March. And the bonds are being sold at designated branches of the State Bank of India across the country. The electoral bond scheme was notified on 2nd of January this year. As per the provisions of the scheme, a person who is a citizen of India or an entity incorporated or established in India can purchase electoral bonds. Now, SBI has been allowed to issue and in-cash electoral bonds initially at its 4 authorized branches. The bonds are being sold at the main branches of SBI in 4 metro cities: New Delhi, Mumbai, Kolkata and Chennai. An electoral bond is valid for 15 days from the date of issue. No payment would be made to any payee political party if the bond is deposited after the expiry of the validity period. The bond deposited by any eligible political party into its account would be credited on the same day. Well, the aim behind the scheme is to bring transparency in political funding. In January this year, Finance Minister Arun Jaitley had come out with the contours or the details of these electoral bonds that put a cap on the amount of money that will be used by donors for political funding. The bearer instrument will not carry the name of the payee and can be bought for any value in the multiples of 1,000, 10,000, 1 lakh, 10 lakh or 1 crore rupees. And the Lokpal Selection Committee will meet today to finalize the name of the eminent jurist who has to be on the anti-graft panel. As per the Lokpal and Lokayukt's Act of 2013, an eminent jurist is to be appointed to the Selection Committee on the recommendations of other members of the panel. The panel will be chaired by the Prime Minister, and other members include the Chief Justice of India, Lok Sabha Speaker, Leader of Congress in Lok Sabha Mallikarjun Kharge, and the Minister of State for Prime Minister's Office Jitendra Singh have been given special invites. The jurists would be appointed by the President on the recommendations of the Selection Committee. The Lokpal law seeks to bring the Prime Minister, Union Ministers and the Members of Parliament under the purview of the Anti-Corruption Ombudsman. Meanwhile, Congress leader Kharge has, however, written to the Prime Minister declining to attend the meeting as a special invitee.
मैं एक स्पेशल इनवाइटी के नाते मेरे को अलग बिठाया जाएगा और वो लोग बैठेंगे और वो निर्णय करेंगे. जो निर्णय करेंगे उनका तो रिकॉर्ड हो जाएगा. उनका तो ये भी कहेंगे अगर कोई वोटिंग का संभावना भी अगर आ गया तो मेरा कोई वोट भी काउंट नहीं होगा. तो लोकतंत्र में जो हमको लोगों के तरफ से जो सपोर्ट है उसको जो महत्व मिलना है उन्होंने उसको ठुकराने की कोशिश की है और हमेशा अपोजिशन को दबाना, उनके वॉइस को नहीं सुनना, ये उनका इरादा है. उन्होंने इससे साफ जाहिर किया.
And on to the update in the PNB fraud case, and the Enforcement Directorate has attached 41 properties belonging to Gitanjali Gems promoter Mehul Choksi in connection with its money laundering probe into the PNB fraud case. The attached assets worth over 1,200 crore rupees includes 15 flats and 17 office premises in Mumbai, a mall in Kolkata, a 4-acre farmhouse in Alibag, and 231 acres of land at various locations like Nashik, Nagpur and in various districts in Tamil Nadu as well. The agency has also issued a provisional order for attachment under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act. Meanwhile, the Income Tax Department has also attached jeweller Nirav Modi's 4 immovable assets in connection with the tax evasion probe against him and his companies. A lookout notice has also been issued against him and Mehul Choksi. The move is to keep a tab on their entry at all land, air and sea ports in the country. The department has also attached 34 bank accounts and fixed deposits valued at 1.45 crore rupees of the Gitanjali Group. Meanwhile, Nirav Modi has refused to join the CBI investigation in the Punjab National Bank fraud case, citing his business engagements abroad. The agency had directed Nirav Modi to approach the Indian mission in the country where he is residing so that immediate arrangement can be made for his travel to India. The Central Investigative Agency has also arrested PNB's internal chief auditor, adding that it is the first arrest of any auditor of the bank. And India regained the status of the world's fastest growing major economy. The gross domestic product grew 7.2% in the October to December quarter of the current fiscal, and the growth was driven by a pickup in the growth in manufacturing and services sectors. Here are the details.
India on Wednesday regained the tag of the world's fastest growing economy, clocking a GDP growth of 7.2% in the December quarter. This was the fastest pace of economic growth in 5 quarters, with gross domestic product growth surpassing China's 6.8% annual pace in that period. In the December quarter, manufacturing grew at 8.9%, higher than 6.9% in the previous quarter. Similarly, the farm sector grew at 4.1% compared to 2.7% in the previous quarter. Construction recorded a growth of 6.8%, higher than 2.8% in the previous quarter, while the services segment, including financial services, grew at a rate of 6.7%, up from 6.4% in the previous quarter. 8 infrastructure sectors grew at a faster pace of 6.7% in January, against 3.4% in the same period last year. Petroleum refinery and cement output zoomed, while steel power and coal production improved. However, taken for the entire year, the Indian economy will grow at 6.6%. India's GDP had fallen to a 3-year low of 5.7% in the April-June quarter due to destocking in the run-up to the July 1st launch of the Goods and Services Tax. Moody's Investors Service also said on Wednesday that the Indian economy is starting to recover from the negative impact of demonetization and disruption caused by the GST rollout. It kept GDP growth estimates unchanged at 7.6% for 2018. These figures and projections augur well for India and are reflective of India's strong economic fundamentals, propelled by a barrage of reforms unveiled by the government in the last 1 or 2 years. In fact, the multilateral agencies like the World Bank and the IMF have already exuded confidence on India's economic prowess. Reporting from Delhi with cameraperson Kawaljit, I'm Kriti Mishra for Rajya Sabha Television.
And after positive GDP data for the December quarter, markets opened on a higher note today. The BSE Sensex, which had lost 261.71 points in the previous 2 sessions, rose over 63 points during the opening trade at 34,247.06. The broader NSE Nifty also reclaimed the 10,500 mark, rising 25.85 points to 10,518.7. The market sentiment strengthened after the release of the GDP data on Wednesday that showed the economy recorded a 5-quarter high growth of 7.2% in the October to December quarter on good show by key sectors like agriculture, construction and manufacturing. On to some other news now. Finance Minister Arun Jaitley launched a PensionerSanchez, a financial literacy and pension planning website, and released a report on financial inclusion and pension coverage on Wednesday. Speaking at the 4th Annual Conference on Pension organized by the Pension Fund Regulatory and Development Authority, Finance Minister Arun Jaitley said that there is a great need to evolve India into an insured society. He added that the dependence of senior citizens is a grave challenge for the society and it can be met with evolution of the concept of pension and its expansion.
Conventionally, it was considered that only in structured government employment, pension was the responsibility of the state. But then the state resources also had their own limitations. And therefore, as in everywhere else in the world, new innovative methods of evolving and popularizing different kinds of pension systems have been evolving.
And the Cabinet on Wednesday approved the Trafficking of Persons Prevention, Protection and Rehabilitation Bill 2018. It will be introduced in Parliament in the second half of the budget session, which starts on 5th of March. The apex anti-terror body NIA will be the nodal authority for probing cases of human trafficking. The Cabinet also agreed to give a focused attention to 12 identified champion services sectors for promoting their development.
The Union Cabinet on Wednesday approved the bill to prevent human trafficking. The law, when enacted, will make India a leader among South Asian countries in combating trafficking. It also introduces the aspect of a rehabilitation fund for the first time. The National Investigation Agency will perform the task of Anti-Trafficking Bureau at the national level. Courts will be designated in each district for the speedy trials. Punishment will range from rigorous 10 years to life and fine not less than 1 lakh rupees.
Purpose is to address and prevent child prostitution, child labor, removal of organs, use of children in wars, internal insurgencies, illegal adoption, any forms of slavery, buying, selling of women for marriage, drug peddling, smuggling, sex tourism, and anything connected with it.
The Cabinet also approved a proposal to give focused attention to 12 identified champion services sectors. A dedicated fund of 5,000 crore rupees has been set up to support initiatives for sectoral action plans of the champion sectors.
To get services, contribute to at least 4.2% from present 3.3% by 2022. So this will be significantly higher percentage because the world economy also would have grown by then significantly. We look into reforming regulatory landscape and also to separate professional association functions from regulatory functions.
The Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs also approved continuation of Prime Minister's Employment Generation Programme Beyond 12 plan for 3 years from 2017-18 to 2019-20 with a total outlay of 5,500 crore rupees. It also approved doubling of government guarantee from 9,500 crore rupees to 19,000 crore rupees for procurements of pulses and oilseeds at MSP by National Agricultural Cooperative Marketing Federation of India. In 2011 only, India had ratified a UN protocol for a stringent legislation against human trafficking. But no significant headway was made. And now this proposed law ensures focused monitoring to avert the incidents of human trafficking. Reporting from Delhi, with camera person Kawaljit, I'm Kriti Mishra for Rajya Sabha Television.
And our news from Nagaland and Meghalaya, where assembly elections were held on Tuesday. And ahead of the counting day in Nagaland on 3rd of March, our correspondent Panchanan Mishra spoke with the Chief Minister T.R. Jaringang, who has expressed confidence at forming the government. He also clarified that his party, NPF, has not severed ties with the BJP. He also said that his party already has the support from the NPP and the JDU. Let's take a listen.
We have with us Mr. T.R. Jaringang, Chief Minister of Nagaland and also NPF candidate in this election. Sir, the polling is over. Now everybody is waiting for results. What is your reading about, especially in terms of these exit polls?
We are confident that MPF alone will secure 30 plus. And with our alliance, we'll have a comfortable majority.
There is still confusion in the state that BJP is very much with your government. 2 ministers are in your cabinet also. But BJP is contesting with NDPP and BJP alliance separately. So what is this confusion?
They have requested us for 15 seats. We could not arrange 15 seats. As far as our alliance is concerned, BJP, two ministers are still under my ministry, 1 advisor. So the alliance continued. And post-alliance will also continue, but it's up to BJP to decide. But for us, our stand is very clear. We have not removed them, and they have not resigned also.
Very interesting things, sir. You are saying that, and also you have said during your campaigning also, the polling day, that you will form alliance with NPP, JDU, and you are going to form government. So we can say Congress is also a party which is trying to talk to back channel you also.
No, as far as this MPP and JDU is concerned, we have pre-poll alliance. And we have entered into an agreement, declaration that they have signed. And yesterday, JDU president and MPP president and secretary, we all went together to governor. And they have submitted the papers, that supporting letters, that there will be alliance with MPF-led government under my leadership. So they have submitted the paper, but we did not publish the paper, but very soon it will come out.
Vice President Venkaiah Naidu on Wednesday asked the police officials to address the crime against women and children with a heavy hand and with utmost sensitivity towards the victims. Addressing the IPS probationers of 70 RR at the Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel National Police Academy in Hyderabad, Vice President Venkaiah Naidu asked the IPS officers to take exemplary action against the offenders and that it should be the order of the day. The Vice President also asked IPS probationers to acquire soft skills like effective listening, empathy, team building and stress management while performing their duty. The Vice President also asked the police officers to develop expertise in using modern technology in police work, keeping in the country's vulnerability to cyber crime mind. The Vice President further added that national security cannot be ensured without peace and stability, and good policing is essential for a vibrant democracy.
Internal security lays the essential foundation for the prosperity of our nation by ensuring a stable socio-economic environment. That's why we have to create enough awareness among the people also. Society also must stand by the forces which are fighting for the unity and integrity and safety and security of our people. National security cannot be ensured without peace and stability within our own borders. This fact situates the role of policemen as central in national security. Furthermore, good policing is essential for a vibrant democracy.
That's all in this news bulletin. Up ahead is Khabar Dopeher. Thanks for watching.